So, Roger, you mentioned, okay, everyone wants to do the cool stuff and not the plumbing. I guess designing a cool user experience and usable software actually is very important for a medical device. Can you say a little bit more about how UX is important for that?
Yeah, and I think what I'd like to do is share a personal story. So, sometimes we do all this development, we don't pick our heads up and really look at what's happening in the field, So what happens is I had my father in the hospital at one point, and we were in a hospital that was supposed to be very modern, and he had this IV bag, drip bag. Now, my father, was 82 years old, a very tough, very strong man, but, you're in your 80s in the hospital. I saw him afraid, there was some fear in his eye. And so, you want to make that environment very calm, very trusting, the doctors, the nurses, the technicians. So all of a sudden, he's in the hospital and there's an IV bag alarm. The alarm's going off and my father's face lit up and was like, I saw fear and panic. He was born in the 1930s, right? He's not keen to the technology like I am. And I'm sitting there going, it's probably a kink in the bag, it's probably whatever. But I know, behind the scenes, I'm a biomedical engineer. I know what things happen here, right? And so the nurse came in and she's like, oh, this stupid thing, and cursing and whatever, and fixing it, and the alarm goes off, and she walks out. And he looked and he goes, am I gonna die? Like, that really impacted me. And so when we look at user experience, sometimes it's the user environment. Well, the device was not very user-friendly because she's trying to turn off this alarm. She couldn't get it off. She couldn't turn it off. She was banging the side and everything like she was a mechanic working on a car. I don't think my mechanic should bang my car around either. But, I saw that fear in his eyes and there was no explanation and she left. Now, what if, of course kinks in the bag happen. What if she came in, boop, boop, or there's something read, kink in bag, please adjust, or something like that, right? So it's not just the user experience for the user, sometimes it's the user experience for the patient. And the patient does not know as much. My father was a very educated man. Now imagine someone with, let's say, an 8th grade or 9th grade education, or someone that doesn't speak the language. All of a sudden now, whoa, that user experience, and maybe what's on the screen, and maybe the screen was sitting there and they say kink and bag, or the alarm was different.
Maybe feedback.
Yeah, and it was not as vital, right? So when you're designing, sometimes you're developing, maybe you're just thinking about the person using it. But now we got to pick it up and say, what is the patient experience? What is the doctor experience? What is the nurse's experience? Because guess what? No one's going to come in, pull out the manual, and start reading the manual. So the user experience has to be intuitive, has to be responsive, and has to be informative, or maybe multidimensional, where there's different types of alarms, so that everyone has a calm environment, because the hospital environment is already very stressful.